All right, now I'm thrilled to welcome, introduce today's first speaker, Neil Sharkey. Neil was appointed Vice President for Research at Penn State in September of 2014. During his tenure as Vice President, Penn State has consistently been ranked among the nation's top 25 public research universities, with annual research expenditures regularly exceeding $800 million, now exceeding over $900 million. The Office of Research oversees the research work of 11 academic colleges, 7 university-wide research institutes, a university-affiliated research laboratory for the Department of Defense, and offices for sponsored programs, research protections, industry partnerships, technology, transfer, innovation, and commercialization. Is that it? Did I get all of them? Yeah, that's a lot. Neil has also been instrumental in the development of the Invent Penn State initiative since its launch in January of 2015. Invent Penn State is a Commonwealth-wide initiative to spur economic development, job creation, student career success by connecting researchers with the people who can help bring their discoveries to the marketplace. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Neil Sharkey to the stage.
All right, good morning. So it's great to see so many people here. It's like on such a beautiful day, I was getting nervous because it hadn't rained for 3 days straight, and I was wondering what was going on. So anyway, we're here to talk about Invent Penn State, and I couldn't be more happy to do that. It's been an initiative that has really exceeded many of our wildest dreams. It's only 3 years old, a little more than 3 years old, and what we've accomplished has just been amazing, and the things we've moved out to the marketplace. So let me tell you a little bit about this. I'm not going to talk too long. We want to get some of our entrepreneurs up here to relate their stories to you. So what exactly is Invent Penn State? So you could probably sum it up in a nutshell: a multifaceted economic development initiative spanning our 24 campuses, which basically spans the entire Commonwealth. And it actually does, because we've stood up facilities I'll talk about a little bit later on 21 of our campuses. And so it is affecting not just our students across the Commonwealth, but our communities. So it was really, this is a brainchild of President Barron when he arrived. He had a number of initiatives to stand up, and one of his premier ones was this Invent Penn State, and he characterized it as an initiative for job creation and student career success. And that's what it's really all about, is driving the economy, but in so doing, bringing more jobs, new jobs, into the Commonwealth and giving our students opportunity. And I think it's really achieving all of those things, as I said, beyond our expectations. So we really felt that President Barron, myself, and other leaders in Old Main, that driving the economy should be part of a land-grant mission of the modern land-grant university. So Penn State was stood up as a land-grant university, meaning that it was stood up for the people, for average folks to be able to get a good education, primarily at that time focused on agriculture and engineering, but over time we've become one of the nation's premier comprehensive research universities. And what better facility and resources than to help drive the economy. And in this day and age, our economy extends well beyond agriculture, although ag is still a major economic driver in the Commonwealth. We do a whole lot of other things. And so Penn State should be engaged in those things. Probably the university hasn't been as engaged as it could be in the past. So that was our charge, to actually do this better. So we immediately went about designing a plan to try to charge up every aspect of this to move those great ideas coming from our scientists and our students out into the marketplace, and in so doing create jobs and give our students opportunity. So let me just go through and tell you just a few of the new things that have been going on over the past 3 years that actually have charged this system up. One is our Office of Technology Management, which we've always had, but it hasn't been nearly as proactive as it is now. So traditionally, our faculty have been pretty much concentrated on their coin of the realm, which is peer-reviewed publications. Believe me, I'm one of those. If you want to be promoted, you pay attention to those things. But we'd do those ideas, we'd publish our findings, and then not worry too much about the bright ideas and processes that might have come out. And they would be left stranded in university and not doing anybody a lot of good. So we really put entrepreneurs scattered around the campuses and really trying to change the culture of our faculty so that when they come up with a bright idea, maybe it's not them that brings it to market, but we're aware of it so that we can bring it to market and find entrepreneurs and students willing to do that. And we really have made a difference in changing that culture. It's now okay. We've got a ways to go still. There's still old folks that think this isn't real academics, but most of our faculty recognize the value of doing this. So we're moving a lot more of our ideas and our processes and new things that come out of our federally funded portfolio toward the marketplace. And in fact, we've now established new awards for those faculty who are particularly entrepreneurial and have a bent for this type of thing. And we've been giving those out on an annual basis now in a couple of different forums, which really signals that, hey, this is what our faculty should be doing. So that's on the faculty side. On the student side, there's a whole host of things we're doing. Our young folks are just crazy entrepreneurial. I mean, they've grown up in a different world than most of the folks in this room where they've seen success occur overnight. If you have a good idea, you can put it out to the whole world and let them know about it in a heartbeat now with communications and electronic devices that we all carry around in our pockets. So it's a different world. Students really want to learn how to be entrepreneurial and really have a mind for it. So we've provided them the resources to do that and give them those skill sets. Some of it's internal, using our traditional methods, our educational methods. We've stood up numerous minors aimed at entrepreneurship around the university. We've also, the business school has really developed really hard-hitting majors on entrepreneurship. So no matter what discipline, whether you're an engineer or you do health and human development or you're an artist, there are resources for you to learn how to take those to the marketplace internally that you can get credit for. And then externally, non-curricular things are the particularly exciting things that I think we've been doing. And I mentioned earlier our entrepreneurial hubs. We've stood up over the past 3 years 21 entrepreneurial hubs. A lot of them are called launch boxes. I'm sure some of you have heard that term. These are really ideation centers. One of the things that we asked each to do is stand these up not on your campuses, but in those communities where the campuses exist. So they're not just for our students and our faculty, they're also for members of the community to freely access and use. And these are spaces where people can stand up their bright ideas, and there's also programmatic activities that go on in these. So there's pitch competitions, and we'll have events, and visitors and successful entrepreneurs will come and speak. And they've just been a huge resource to folks that want to do this. The law school sponsors legal clinics in these. So young new businesses can learn the ins and outs of businesses and how to actually drive their ideas forward. So these resources have just spawned a whole host of new startups that we couldn't dream we could do so fast in the last 3 years. So it's been really neat. And then enhancing the overall environment that affects everyone, our students, our communities, our faculty. We've really enhanced our relationship with Ben Franklin Technology Partners, which is an agency run by the state's, the Commonwealth Department of Economic Development, Community Development and Economics, and it's been the Techcelerator through Ben Franklin has really helped drive a lot of these activities and taught our young entrepreneurs how to be successful and run a business. We've applied for and secured NSF and NIH grants. They're called I-Corps grants, which provide resources to actually help accelerate businesses. So we have those activities going on both here in State College as well as down at the College of Medicine. Matt Rhodes and Paul Shabaka, and a lot of you know this, have stood up an angel fund right here in Happy Valley. One of the things we were missing here is when those businesses get to the point of where they really need external investment to drive them forward. We didn't have those kind of venture capital folks out here. It was something we really needed here, and one of our alumni advocates really worked hard to stand up this angel fund. Some of you in this room may be investors in that fund, but they're working on closing their first deals right now, so that's really added to the ecosystem. And then just yesterday, I don't know, maybe somebody in the room was participating in this, we have a startup leadership network that's been formed where we're bringing back engaged alumni, former entrepreneurs or current entrepreneurs and businessmen that can help advise the new businesses that we have. And we had a great group out at the Penn Stater yesterday. That we had 4 simultaneous sessions times 3. So we had a dozen of our young companies getting advice and experience from a whole number of engaged folks that want to see us succeed. So these are all the type of things that have all been stood up in the past 3 years that are really, really been driving this whole activity to really the heights that we never expected we can do in such a short time. Just a few numbers, and then I'll sit down. I've actually talking longer than I expected I would. Office of Technology Management. These are our traditional ideas that come from our federally sponsored research, which incidentally, I should say, Paul mentioned numbers. We shattered records this year on our research expenditures. If you haven't heard, $927 million in research expenditures. So we're pushing $1 billion. We rank, way up among the nation's elite in the volume of research we do around here. And we're good at a whole bunch of stuff, okay? So if you look at actually the NSF numbers, Penn State ranks in the top 10 in 15 different academic domains. We are the top in the nation in the number of academic domains that we rank in the top 10 in. So that's worth a clap, I would say. We have great scientists and professors at every corner of the institution residing in every discipline, and it's those folks that really help drive all this. This is where the ideas, this is where the stimulation for students to come up ideas is all occurring, and you should be really proud of your institution. One of the things I love about this job is the opportunity to go around and talk to the world's leading experts. And I don't care what domain you want to pick. We have some of the world's leading experts here. All right, so I'm off track. So Office of Technology Management, in the past 3 years, 129 patents have been filed. We've executed 74 licenses, and 24 startups have come out of those. Those new entrepreneurial hubs that I was mentioning that have been stood up in our communities, 21 of them in 3 years. Have serviced 250 students, faculty, and community members. They've engaged 1,000 entrepreneurs. 79 startups have come out of those, 80 products. And then an unexpected consequence, 100 different student interns have worked in these to date. So we're engaging students that we didn't even think about when we stood all this up. So there's all kinds of extraneous benefits. And then I'm going to introduce Jeff Fortin in a minute, and he's going to introduce our entrepreneurs that are going to speak today. But kudos to Jeff Fortin, who came on shortly after I did. He was hired to drive our relationships with industry. And he and James Delatre, who's really been overseeing much of what I've been talking about this morning, have really been instrumental in providing the success that we've seen with Invent Penn State. So Jeff's activity, and this is all part of Invent Penn State, is to help enhance those businesses that we already have in PA and beyond. So to partner with those folks to actually enhance their bottom line, as well as providing great experience for our faculty and for our students. And that's been highly successful as well. Since we started down this road, we have a lot more industry partnerships and a lot more extensive partnerships with those that we already had. So a large portion of those research expenditures that I were talking about actually flow from the private sector and partnerships with our friends in business and industry. So Jeff's done a great job. I think the university has about 400 industry partnerships right now, and some of those are huge and really blossoming. So I think, seeing as I'm mentioning Jeff, I think I'll get him up here. I've spoken enough. It's great to have you all here. I love the enthusiasm. I'll try to stay dry today.
All right, good morning, everyone. So as Neil mentioned, I'm Jeff Fortin. I lead our Office of Industrial Partnerships, and really happy to be here today. Thanks for coming out to learn about the Penn State Initiative, and in a few minutes, you'll hear from some of our truly inspiring entrepreneurs here at Penn State. So you've already heard a lot from Neil about the Invent Penn State Initiative. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about some of our entrepreneurial programs, and then I'll introduce the 3 startup teams you'll hear from. It's truly remarkable, the volume and quality of innovation happening here at Penn State, as well as the number of companies, communities, and devoted alumni who are supporting this work. And over the last 3, almost 4 years, seeing all of the alumni and the communities that have come together with Penn State across the Commonwealth to really build this initiative has been very exciting. On a daily basis, we get to see some really cool things. This is a really fun job. I'm out in the labs every day. I'm talking to students and faculty and learning about the things that they're doing that can really change the world. It's really exciting. So some examples of some of our startup technologies right now: smartphone-based blood cell counters, speech generation devices for those battling ALS, early detection technologies for cancer, novel bone graft materials, mobile apps to help breweries with quality control, very important on home game weekends. And practical inventions like pet-safe trash cans and more ergonomical crutches. And these are just a few, how many, Neil mentioned something like 79 startups that came out in the first year of Invent Penn State. And so it just kind of gives you an idea of the breadth of things that are going on here. Very exciting. It's also an impressive amount of activity coming out of our innovation hubs. As Neil mentioned, 21 of these across the Commonwealth. Each one is a little bit different. Each of these hubs has to be in the community, partnered with the community. So it's not just about Penn State students and faculty. It's about working with the community, in the community, to advance the economic development of that community. So it's been really exciting to see these partnerships form across the Commonwealth. So these hubs provide services to entrepreneurs, low-cost legal advice or no-cost legal advice, patent, trademark advice, advice on how to bring your product to market, how to build a business plan, how to talk to your customers, how to do customer discovery, design thinking, all the things that you need to think about when you're starting a business. We even have a new program funded by the National Science Foundation called I-Corps. This is a program that's launched across the U.S. to really help startups understand how to build a business. And we've been lucky enough to win an NSF grant to use that technique to train our entrepreneurs here. So these hubs have been opening on a rolling basis. I think just to reiterate some of the stats that Neil said, in the first year with only 5 of these hubs open, we supported more than 2,500 faculty, staff, and students, 1,000 entrepreneurs, and 79 startups, 80 new products, and 25 jobs, and provided 110 entrepreneurships. The one located here in State College is called Happy Valley Launchbox. It's on Allen Street. We would welcome you anytime. Come on in and we'll give you a tour and tell you what's going on there. I participate in the review committee, so we have a number of different accelerator programs to really help these startups get moving. Just this week, I reviewed 30 applications, a number of students, some faculty applicants, as well as those from the community. The community make up about 25% of all the applicants for this program, and this is all free, no charge to everyone who gets in the program. So we're really excited to see all these applicants continue to come in. So we're thrilled with the progress of these hubs. We're growing a large number of new businesses in our ecosystem across the state and right here in University Park. And in a minute, you're going to hear from 3 different startups. So I'm going to give you a brief background, and then I'm going to invite them up. So the first startup, called Phospholutions, was founded by CEO Hunter Swisher, who was an undergraduate here at Penn State when he started this business. He's now a graduate, and his business is doing really well. He's going to tell you a great story about the origin of the technology and how he started this business here at Penn State and the great success he's already had. And I'll give you a hint, he already has revenue, which is a really good thing for a startup. The second company is called Moicor and was founded by Chevy Carbasi and Matthew Chen. Chevy is currently a student at Penn State, so his business was founded by himself and a number of his friends, these folks majoring in biology. He's going to tell you about he and a group of these creative students have been developing their product and business and the support they've had from the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Very exciting technology, too. You'll be very interested to hear about it. And finally, you'll get to hear from Birgit Bastic, who is a PhD candidate in mechanical engineering. Her and one of our faculty members, Dr. Toxing Wang, right over here, have developed this technology in their research lab based on some of the research that Neil was talking about, that $927 million of research spend. And so they're going to tell you about how they're taking this technology from the lab and turning it into a successful business model. So now we will welcome Hunter to the stage.
All right, so I can't use this thing for my PowerPoint, so I'm going to be hitting this guy over here for every time I got to move my slide. So my name's Hunter Swisher. I'm the CEO and founder of Phospholutions. I'm going to start out, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about our technology and what we do first, and then I'm going to go in and tell you my story, how I was able to create a business as an undergrad and come out with a full-time job. So, oh yeah, this is fancy. All right. So the story that we're telling here, so the U.S. will apply $32 billion worth of fertilizer this year, and research has shown that more than 60% of that fertilizer is going to wash away before it's ever been used. The other issue here is we're going to spend another $5 billion to go through and clean it all up. So our solution to this here, well, actually to take this a step further, why we're called Phospholutions is we're focused primarily on phosphorus. So phosphorus is the main culprit here in the algae blooms that we see nationwide, which is what happens when that fertilizer enters our waterway. And more specifically, phosphorus is also a finite resource. So phosphorus is mined, similar to petroleum, out of a reservoir in the earth that's been built up over millions of years. The scary part is that it's the second largest nutrient needed for food production. So it's incredibly important to start utilizing this resource more efficiently. Our solution to this problem, or the solution to this problem, is twofold. We want to slow down the nutrients that we're applying from entering the waterway, and we want to clean up the ones that do. And our solution, as we go through, is this technology that we have that we basically use a material to soak up nutrients, and then we go and reapply those nutrients as a fertilizer. And I think the next slide does a great job of showing what that means. So we've identified all these waste streams, or areas where nutrients are entering the waterway, causing a nuisance, and we can soak up those nutrients and utilize those and reapply those back as a fertilizer to the field in a form that won't end up back downstream. And our team is about 95% Penn Staters, so I wanted to show off the fact that we are a bunch of alumni here. The three core people here, we've all actually went through the College of Agricultural Sciences, came out with horticulture and plant sciences degrees, and we're a living, breathing company doing some real stuff out there now. So my story, I think, is kind of interesting, as I started this as an undergraduate at the exact same time that the Invent Penn State initiative had started. So I was a student sitting in a classroom, and I was learning all about one of my professor's technologies that was going to change the way that we fertilize plants today. And when I basically made the mistake of writing my final paper in the class on my professor's technology, so I had to know it pretty well. And in the midst of that, I found that there was 2 patents still sitting here at Penn State in the intellectual property office that had not been utilized and not been brought to market. And so I raised my hand in class and I asked, where can I go buy this stuff? And he had said that no one had taken it to market. And so it really got the gears going. I went and I started talking to my advisor, and I said, I'm interested in starting a business. So she pointed me to somebody in the College of Ag named Mark Gagnon, and I went through and applied for a startup pitch competition. And ironically, actually, my business partner now, Ben Nason, had actually won that competition for another venture. I reconnected later at the launch box. So as an undergraduate, I had this idea. I wanted to go out and test my idea, so I utilized my alumni network. So I went out. We have the #1 turf program in the US. We had went out and I spoke to, in my mind, I thought this was a great first place to apply some product. Let's use a high value application like golf courses. And so I cold called 15 alumni, and they let me come out all over the East Coast and put some product in the ground and run some studies. From there, we got great results. Went through, and I felt pretty confident that I wanted to take this technology to market. So I went through the Launchbox Accelerator program, which was this 15-week boot camp. At the same time I had done that, I applied for the Summer Founders program. Like we were talking about, money's pretty crucial here to getting a company up and off the ground. So we were fortunate enough to take home $10,000 from the Summer Founders program. At the same time, we went through the boot camp. So I was able to come out with some pretty basic knowledge of how to start a company from scratch. Went through the Ben Franklin Tech Accelerator, which is kind of the next level. We started looking at financial pro formas and how we wanted to get this business, how we started making money. From there, we came out. I licensed 2 patents from the university, still as an undergraduate at this point. We continued to win some pitch competitions. So Penn State's not only done a great job of providing all the resources, but also the opportunity to win the money that we need, which is truly the resource to help get something up and off the ground. So I think we've won about $140,000 to date in pitch competitions. We were able to seal the deal with some local investors for some pre-seed investment, and we took a loan from Ben Franklin. We are now up to 5 full-time employees, and we're just got some office space out at Innovation Park, and we are definitely generating revenue. We've attracted a formal partnership with a chemical company called BASF, and we're in the process of launching a new product to market. So that's our story. It's pretty quick. I've now been an alumni for almost 2 years here as of December. So it's been an exciting journey, and I appreciate all the support that Penn State's given us, as well as the Alumni Association. So with that, I will introduce Chevy, who is going to tell you about from the student perspective. Thanks.
Hey everyone, so I'm Chevy, and I'm currently a senior in the Elberly College of Science, and I'm one of the 4 founders of Moicor, a smartphone complete blood count application. I also have Matt and Steve here, they're part of the founding team. So in the summer of 2012, my grandfather was diagnosed with lung cancer. When you're going through lung cancer, you're prescribed chemotherapy, and going through chemotherapy, it affects these white blood cells called neutrophils, and these are our main white blood cells that fight infection. So when you're going through chemotherapy, these cells become immunocompromised, and that means you have a higher chance of getting, of getting an infection. And not only are you at a higher chance of getting an infection, you're exhausted, you're mentally tired, you don't want to go to an outpatient center to have this complete blood count. In addition, 3 years later, I actually received a grant to do research at Mass General, Harvard Med, where I kind of learned how these technologies were doing complete blood counts. And that led to the formation of Moicor, a smartphone complete blood count, a smartphone application where you can have a complete blood count done. Very simply, you put an attachment onto your case, and then you insert a microfluidic chip. We're able to stain the cells, form a monolayer, so we can quantify the number of red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. After that, so we're forming a partnership with MyGenteel. This is a somewhat of a pain-free pricker. Also, it introduces no contamination to the sample, since it uses a vacuum. Next, you just prick your finger. There we go. So then you place the drop of blood onto our microfluidic chip. And then within 30 seconds, we provide you and the physician the results. So it's, all right, so the slide's missing. But in a year, we've made some pretty cool progress. So we started this idea in September of 2017, and we've gone through the Happy Valley Launchbox Accelerator program. We were accepted in the Summer Founders program. We were the first winners of the $30,000 InQ competition. We also got accepted into Y Combinator Startup School. So that's a seed school for the Y Combinator main program, which is in San Francisco. So I want to take this moment and really thank the Invent Penn State initiative, because they've taken us to heights that I never imagined. And that means Lee Erickson at Happy Valley Launchbox, Jason, James Delatre. They really, anytime we have a question, it's so easy to find an answer. It's as simple as sending an email to these individuals. So I really want to thank Invent Penn State for everything they've done for us. And feel free to come talk to me after. Nice meeting you guys. Also, I want to introduce Spotless, Birgit.
Hi Hi everyone, my name is Birgit Bosic. I'm a co-founder of Spotless Materials. I'm also a PhD student here in the Mechanical Engineering Department. I just defended my thesis, I'm almost done. At Spotless Materials, we're primarily concerned with using our bio-inspired slippery coating developed in our lab to address sticky situations. In particular, we're interested in addressing the water and energy footprint of sticky applications. For example, so one particular sticky situation that we're all familiar with, and I'm sorry that it's breakfast time, but I'm going to talk to you about toilets. We're particularly interested in using our coating to address this sticky situation. So toilets have two main problems. They waste water and they don't stay clean. And our waste management practices have implications for the humble household, all the way to the large-scale institution like Penn State, and all the way to the global community. So this is because conventional toilets use 1.6 gallons per flush, which is enough water to remove the bulk waste. But conventional toilet surfaces are prone to contamination from urine and feces, bacteria accumulation, as well as mineral buildup. And this is something that requires a lot of time and effort to clean these toilets. This is something that we see in our homes and also in institutions. So to address this issue, our company developed a liquid entrenched smooth surface, and this is something that was developed in our lab, like we mentioned, and unfortunately the video is not playing, but that's okay. In our lab, so basically what we have is we have this smooth, slippery surface. It is liquid repellent. It also stands out from its pure technologies and its ability to repel sludge-like materials, such as feces. So I'll go to the next slide, and hopefully that one will play. So that's where our technology stands out. So we've applied our coating technology to, oh, you're gonna see it. All right, and again, I apologize, it's breakfast time. This is synthetic feces, if that helps. So as you can see, our coating technology can be applied to toilets and various other geometric surfaces. And as you can see, our coating is able to repel sludge-like materials. Even better than some of the state-of-the-art materials on the market today. So I'll go to the next slide. So currently, our focus as a company is to, we have a threefold plan. First, we're going to address the market that is interested in having a self-cleaning toilet. So this is janitorial service providers, for example. These are people that are interested in not cleaning their toilet. We're also interested in reducing the toilet's water footprint. So we'd like to put our coating on existing toilets to turn them into high-efficiency toilets. This means we're particularly interested in putting them on tank toilets and dual flush toilets because they're easy to reduce their toilet's water footprint. Eventually, we'd like to partner with large-scale toilet manufacturers so that we can incorporate our coating technology into their design to make ultra-low flow toilets or to make waterless toilets a truly viable option to prevent them from smelling bad. So I talked a lot about this one particular application in sanitation, and that's our current focus because of our network from the research side. But we're also aware that our coating technology is a platform technology. It's one that can be applied to glass, ceramic, and metal. And so we know that there is a world of applications for this technology, and we're hoping to expand into those other areas as well. So for example, we talked about sanitation, but these can also be put inside packaging to reduce waste within cosmetics or food packaging. It can also be used for underwater applications to prevent barnacle attachment onto any type of marine application, et cetera. There are some health directions and transportation directions we're also really interested in. So what we've done, I'll talk about our team a little bit. So far, historically, the Penn State community has been incredibly valuable to our growth as a company. I am a grad student here. I spend a lot of time doing research, and I was really excited to see how we could bring this technology with high impact and turn that into a technology that really is in the world, really impacting people. And so as I transitioned from being a grad student to now being in a company, we've taken advantage of various programs such as the Techcelerator program that was mentioned a few times here. They've been incredibly valuable. We've had team members from the Office of Tech Management that have also just helped propel us forward. The Startup Leadership Network was mentioned as well. We went to that yesterday, and that was just an incredibly valuable experience. So the Penn State community has really helped propel us forward, and all of these Invent Penn State initiatives have really turned us from researchers and helped us become entrepreneurs. And so ultimately, our goal at Spotless Materials is to revolutionize the way that waste is managed. And we hope that with a coating like ours, toilets may be able to keep themselves clean while reducing their environmental impact. Thank you.
Okay, as you can see, we have some pretty exciting things going on here at Penn State, and some of them are very practical. So just want to talk a little bit about industry partnerships before I hand it over to Paul. As Neil mentioned, one of the fundamental aspects of the Invent Penn State initiative is working with industry. You think about the $927 million worth of research that we did last year. That's a lot of research. That's a lot of publications. It's a lot of technology that's in our labs. And what better way to move it into the world than to partner with an existing company? So my office focuses on connecting companies to Penn State's to research enterprise. We have many industry partners here at Penn State. To give you an idea, last year we had over 700 projects sponsored by companies with over 400 companies. That goes everything from a student project where a company is giving a sort of an engineering capstone team a challenge of taking a technology to market through large research programs. Some of our top research partners include Pratt & Whitney, maker of aircraft engines, Lockheed Martin, Dow, DuPont, PPG, Pennsylvania company, Boeing, General Electric, Regeneron Pharmaceuticals, Volvo, and Westinghouse. So you can hear there's some really large companies that call Penn State a research partner. Some of these the relationships go well beyond research, involve student activities and so forth. And to give you an example of a recent partnership, a company called Morgan Advanced Materials, a leader in materials out of UK. They have 6 locations here in Pennsylvania because of our expertise here in materials. And they decided to open up a research center, and they chose Penn State to be their research partner. And they are opening, their grand opening of their research center in Innovation Park is in just a few weeks. They're going to hire about 25 people. They have almost 10 on staff already, PhDs, many of them from Penn State, and they're going to be working with Penn State on the next generation of materials technologies. So it's a very exciting relationship. We're really proud that they chose us as their partner. So that's just a little bit of background on industry partnerships. I'll turn it back over to Paul to wrap things up. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jeff. We want to thank all of our presenters today. At this time, we're going to say goodbye to our online audience, and we're also going to invite back up to the stage the entrepreneurs and inventors that you have heard from to give you all the opportunity to ask them some of the questions that might be on your mind. So. All right, questions. Do we have the microphones? Okay, we got a couple questions in the back over here.
Dr. Sharkey, I greatly applaud the effort on Invent Penn State and your obvious and impressive successes of you and the faculty involved. I wonder if your office has ever given consideration to recognizing the 2 university administrators that I feel were the ones who initiated the emphasis on interacting with industry and encouraging breaking across the academic silos to get faculty and students to work on interdisciplinary concepts, which has led to the university historically being either the second or third largest income from industry support for research. Those 2 individuals being Eric Walker, the first director of the Applied Research Lab, first vice president for research and then president, and the second vice president for research, his vice president, E.F. Osborne. I think they're the ones that were the initiators, And I hope sometime they receive appropriate credit for that emphasis.
Yeah, Is this on? Yeah. Thank you for the comments. I couldn't agree more. Those two individuals actually are recognized on buildings, but not in this particular domain. We've talked about another one of those things we learned in talking to our peers is giving recognition where it's due in this domain. And we've talked about maybe having a wall of fame or something like that at the Millennium Science Complex, and to recognize pioneers like those two, but also people that have since done significant things in this domain. So we're trying to figure out how to get, we might come to the Alumni Society to ask for some dollars for that, actually. We're trying to figure out how to fund something like that to get it going, but I very much appreciate the comment.
Got a question in the back corner there?
Who gets the patents on these new inventions? The individual, the business, the university, or is there some kind of an agreement?
That's a good
Yep,
question.
I'll handle that one. So that's a great question, particularly related to today's topics, because there's two mechanisms. So when a faculty or grad student or a postdoc comes on to university, they sign over all their ownership rights to any IP that they're engaged in developing, and the university owns it. And if they come up with a bright idea, and the university will cover the patent expenses, and then any royalties, licensing, or any resulting income from that will be shared. So the faculty member will get 40% of any resulting profits. The university will get 40, and the home college will get 20. Very different for undergraduate students. Undergrads own all their own IP, which is why it makes it so critical to give them the advice they need to manage their IP when we have these classes and programs in the launch boxes and so on. So it's theirs. The university has, and traditionally that's why universities haven't really engaged a lot with undergraduate entrepreneurship, because a lot of universities viewed this domain as a way to make money rather than a way to educate and help people and drive economy. So it's a very different way of thinking, charging up the undergraduate side of this. Okay?
All right, we're going to go right over here to number 7.
So this was very informative, and I was just wondering how, on a continuing basis, you can continue to learn about what's going on with these individuals and others as things happen at Penn State.
Sure, we have a website you can go to, invent.psu.edu, and you can sign up for our monthly newsletter. The monthly newsletter captures all kinds of things going on across the Commonwealth on Invent Penn State. So it's invent.psu.edu.
We had a question over here somewhere.
This is a follow-up to the point about patenting and so on. How does the industry non-disclosure agreements affect the ability of graduate students to publish their results either as a thesis or in a refereed journal?
That's a great question. It's something we have to fight all the time. So we're a public institution. Our primary mission is education. So we will very rarely, we get into lots, in fact, it's one of the impediments of working with the private sector, because we want to ensure that our students are able to publish. So we'll work it so to guarantee that any students engaged are able to publish the work, or in extreme cases, we might provide an alternative. But this is a major concern that we do not. Our primary mission is education, so we ensure that our students are free to publish, and that anything we do in this sphere doesn't impediment their progress toward their PhD or master's degrees.
How about a question from one of our...
It's a great question, and something that we have to deal with all the time, actually.
How about a question for one of our brilliant entrepreneurs on stage? Did you have one over there?
I am curious to hear from these two. the last two left at the entrepreneurial table. And I don't have a particular question, but what are they doing?
Hey, guys, what, you want to join us up here? Yeah, come on up.
So, yeah, why don't you just briefly introduce yourself and what role you play on this business team?
So I do research and development for Moicor. So basically, I work on the attachment, and he works with me with the microfluidic component.
Yep, and I do the customer development, so I do a lot of user testing. I ask questions. I see where our application can be applied to and who can use our product.
What year are you and what?
Oh, so I'm a senior. I'm a bio student. I'm a chemistry minor.
I'm a senior too, and I'm a bio major.
Thank you.
Question right next to you, Ryan.
I have a question for the gentleman who developed the attachment to the cell phone to do a blood test. Have you considered extending that to diabetics and doing blood counts or blood sugars?
Yeah, so pretty much there was a company called Theranos that claimed they could do a lot of tests and they failed miserably. So we're starting off with one attachment. So what's really cool is so right now our attachment is designed for optics, but you can use other technologies to do other types of tests. So pretty much you have a different attachment that can do different tests. But you also have to replace like the microfluidic chip then. So yeah, we are considering going into those avenues. We just have to switch the attachment. Yeah, so the software is designed for optics, and then you have to create a new model and train that new model. And, yeah.
Over here.
I have a question for the gentleman with the phosphate product. Who are some of your current clients, and who do you see as target clients in the future?
Well, so as a startup, it was extremely important to start making money quick. So we started selling a product to the golf course industry. Our product actually has no fertilizer bound to it. What we're doing is we're applying the product as a soil amendment to keep the fertilizer that we apply in the soil until it's actually taken up by the plant. What we work on in the background with is actually the broader scale mission of trying to solve the phosphorus issue. And so our customer then will shift from these high value applications like turf, and we'll switch more into row crops and large scale agriculture. The cleanup sites will be everything from wastewater municipalities to large lakes and ponds and some of those types of projects. That's where we'll be mining our nutrients from to be able to apply back to agriculture. But the focus now is high value.
I'm sure many of you out there know phosphorus is a worldwide issue that's really getting to critical proportions. So this is not only an entrepreneurial activity, it's ultimately important for the environment.
For the entrepreneurs, in terms of your expectations of what starting a business was going to be like going in versus how it actually been, what was your biggest surprise?
We're going to let Brigitte answer this.
Sure. So you're asking about what it was like before versus reality. Yeah, sure. And starting a company. Well, as a grad student, most of my background up until this point was pretty much technical, so I had no idea what I was going to do to start it, how to start a company. So really, it was a big mystery. The whole process was just a matter of demystifying the next step. So I guess I thought, I'd have to get some big CEOs in and get a whole team together, and this is all a mystery. And really, I don't even know if I had a concept of what it was going to be like before. And so that's why I think through the Tech Accelerator program and things like that, that was just really helpful in just demystifying the next step, how to, license a patent from Penn State, since our technology belongs to the Penn State Research Foundation right now, and learning how to negotiate those deals and how to start raising money and going to pitch competitions. I think that all of it was just a matter of demystifying.
Three things that I was never told before I decided to take this trip was that I was never going to eat lunch on time, that I was going to have a full-time job and then clock in a second shift to actually do what I need to get done for the day, And I would say that the third thing is that you have to, first off, no one cares about your technology, and you have to be able to tell it to them in 30 seconds. So as much as I think the science is really cool, that's not what my customer buys. They care about what's it going to do for them. So those are my three little, I wish someone told me.
I guess what I wish someone told me was most of the work I'd done was in like a research lab, and in a research lab, you don't design anything for the customer. You really just want the technical feasibility to work. So what Launchbox taught me was you have to, from very early on, start engaging your customers and walking them through your hardware so you can make, like now we have a quote that like innovation is not disruptive, customer adoption is. So that's what I learned.
We have time for one more question. Oh, right here, Todd.
First of all, just these efforts amongst the Penn State community, I want to applaud Invent Penn State and all the entrepreneurial activities. It's really transformed the community, and I've been able to observe that over the past few years, so congratulations to all these efforts. So this is a question for the entrepreneurs. What else can we do as alumni, as community members, as Penn State faculty and staff to take these efforts to the next level?
Engage with us. I think that the Startup Leadership Network was a phenomenal idea to start kickstarting that. So we have a lot of talented alumni that have gone off in the world and done some phenomenal things. Bring back your experience, bring back your mentorship, bring back your money. We are fundraising, by the way. And I think that's incredibly important. I think the other ideas, I think everyone in this room already does this anyway, but we support fellow Penn Staters. And I think that that's been extremely crucial for launching my company. Everything from leveraging those couple superintendents that let me put product in the ground to our formal partnership with this big global chemical manufacturer came from an alumni connection. We have alumni that have invested in us. We are looking at folks like 1855 Capital, which is actually the Alumni Association is an investor in. So really just engage. I think it's on all angles. You have a bunch of talented Penn Staters out there.
Yeah, I can actually follow up on that as well. I'll second that because the stage that our company is at right now is one where we really need mentorship. Our core team is technical people, and so we really need we've really benefited from the Startup Leadership Network yesterday and just learning from the expertise of people in different industries that are relevant to ours and sharing their network with us. If we have a need, for example, practically speaking, we really just need someone to test our product or give us third-party validation. So if someone can, give us a lead in that area, it's really, really helpful to us. So network is a sharing the network is really helpful. And also, on top of that, we did the I-Corps program, the national I-Corps program with my team, and some of the most receptive, we had to cold call a bunch of people, and most receptive people ended up actually being Penn State alumni. So that was a fun find.
So I absolutely agree with Hunter on what he said. I can't really add too much after that because the network is really what makes a huge difference. Like we just got back from San Francisco, and the advice was incredible. So if you can bring back that advice, it makes us lose less time and much more efficient.
And I would just add, if you're here in State College, stop in the Happy Valley Launchbox, introduce yourself, get to know the team there, and they'll invite you to events and to speak in front of the group and so forth. Or if you live in one of the communities around the state near a Commonwealth campus, they have a Launchbox or something equivalent, and go and say hello.
I'll use this one. All right, once again, please thank me and please join me in thanking these wonderful entrepreneurs and our presenters today.